Okay. Is Ali here?
Good God.
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm the mighty door.
Return,
Fear
Ali.
the door.
Return.
I feel like just like crouching down just so I can open the door and show its massive powers.
No. Come on.
Fear the door.
It's a nice door you've got there. Now, come on, Ali. Stand up.
Why is he like a midget? Oh, the door's opening.
Yeah, I'm a
The
midget.
door's open. The mighty door. Alright. Well, as you can see, this is the first podcast by Haith Gaming. Today I'm here with Ali, as you know as Tempest. Tempest?
Yep, hi.
Yep, the door. And today's guest is Odd Connor. A lot of you will have known him if you've watched any of the DayZ streams that I did towards the earlier stages of my stream. He is my my loyal gunner. There he is.
Yeah, there we are.
There we go. Alright, so...
User disconnected from your channel.
Oh dear. Who
Oh
did
no,
we
what's
just
happened?
lose? I think Ali accidentally disconnected.
Oh, no.
My TeamSpeak froze. One sec.
Okay, his TeamSpeak just froze, no biggie. Okay, so... The point of today is just to go about what you can aim to expect from the channel and any events that we've got up going. We're going to discuss what we've done in the past, what you can look forward to doing, any events that are coming up, competitions, and also we're going to be talking about any new releases that we're looking forward to or that you can look forward to us streaming. So, second Ali gets back on, we will be sorted. Oh, Ali needs fetching back to the secret chat. Okay.
User was moved to your channel.
There we go, Ali.
Sorry.
So, first of all, games we've been playing. So, as people know, I've been streaming a lot of Skyrim lately. We also touched lightly on Forge, DayZ, and then there's a few other indie games. Just give me a second. A lot of these games are... You can expect to see a lot more of these games. Also, Ali, what games have you got in store for the YouTube channel?
Probably some Gary mod builds. Maybe some simulator games. Not too sure yet.
Right. So from Ali on the YouTube side of things, you can expect to see simulation games and really old games. No doubt he'll probably end up playing some Pokemon at some point, because that's pretty much all Ali can play without failing horribly. But less of that. What you can expect from the stream side of things is DayZ Standalone is definitely going to be a game that you can expect to see in the future. Saints Row 4 I'll be doing a playthrough of. In the very near future there'll be Saints Row 3. You can expect to see more Skyrim, some Oblivion. I've been recommended to play Mass Effect. Maybe even some maybe even some Amnesia Dark Descent. As well as a bunch of other indie games and a lot of viewer streamer based games. Other than that, upcoming things that you can look forward to, I will be doing a 24-hour charity stream where all donations will be going straight to the charity of whatever myself and Ali decide to do. I'll also be doing a bunch of giveaways and competitions, as you've already participated in some of them yourselves, and some of you have won Dota 2. I'll also be giving away other games. I'm not sure what they will be yet, but they'll be appropriate to the game that I'm streaming or to some form of occasion that's coming up. So that's certainly something you can look forward to. We'll also be doing competitions as well as giveaways where you can win some better prizes or some stuff that will be given away very, very rarely. Other than that, I'm not sure what else there is to touch on. Have I missed anything here, Ali?
No.
Nope, that's everything. Right. So, other than that, I mean, next on the subject we've got to talk about what games are we looking forward to, what games are coming out soon that we've seen or heard a lot of and have had a good press release and we're looking forward to. For this is where Odd Connor's going to come in, and he's going to help us discuss any of the newer games that are coming out and give his insight on them, as well as, you know, fueling food for thought with what we think of them. So, the first game we're thinking of, or the first game worth merit, is of course the DayZ Standalone. Now, Connor, what do you think of the DayZ standalone so far?
It looks pretty good at the minute, but I haven't seen any videos in a few months, so a bit sceptical of what it's going to be. It's going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like it's going to be a game that's got a great deal of depth and quite a lot of potential, especially built on the new Arma 3 engine or around the Arma 3 engine. It's definitely a game that I'm looking forward to. Ali, have you seen any light on the DayZ standalone yourself?
No, I don't even know what game you're talking about, to be honest.
Oh dear. Oh dear, Ali. Oh dear. Well, DayZ standalone is definitely a game to keep your eyes on for. It is a zombie survival. I don't even know how you describe it because it's not really an MMO, but it's a first or third person shooter based on a very realistic military engine where you have to scavenge and fight for your life against players and zombies. Everything is hostile, nobody can be trusted, even your own friends can kill you. So it's definitely something to look out for. It will require a relatively good system to play because it is an extremely demanding engine that it's built upon. On to the next game, for which now we can start playing trailers. We have Saints Row 4. So, what have you seen of that so far, Connor?
Well, you can put the video up as well, what I put up on Facebook about God knows how long ago, just an hour or so. But the most exciting thing is that dubstep gun and stuff like that. Bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Saints Row is definitely it's an interesting game. It's I've played all the Saints Rows so far, and they've all come with very unique approaches to the game itself. My favourite, I believe, would more along Saints Row 1 or 2. I wasn't a massive fan of 3, though I did still enjoy it. We've had a lot of fun on Saints Row 3. The customization that the game offers is obviously huge. Do you have anything to say on that case, Ali?
Yeah, I do. Like, what the hell are the producers thinking? Like, you are a street gang and now you're taking on aliens. Like,
it's a simulator, isn't it? Like they're putting into a simulator or something. It's not like the real Stillwater or whatever it's called.
I don't understand. It's just stupid. I don't see the fun in it. Like, I played 3. I thought, yeah, okay, that's all right, yeah. And now I've seen the trailer to this, and I'm thinking, were they on acid the whole time they made this?
They could have
Best
been.
thing about it, isn't it?
But yeah, exactly. That's sort of the appeal. It's so crazy that it can really be quite funny at the same time. Like, on Saints Row 3, there's nothing more fun than rolling around in a ball of cotton and crushing your co-op partner. I mean, to me, that is pure fun. There's nothing bad about that as far as I'm concerned. But, yes, I mean, Saints Row 4, there's been a lot of sort of tease and stuff surrounding it. We know there is going to be something along the lines of a dubstep gun, as well as a lot of other things that are obviously shown in the trailer. The game direction itself is based nothing like any of the other Saints Row games, so I think it's really going to be a big step for the company. It's either going to make it or break it. I mean, you are going to still get the hardcore Saints Row purchases, the same as you do with every game, like Call of Duty and Battlefield and all of that. But I don't know if the new approach is going to repel new customers or attract even more, like, more attempts at trying it out. But the game definitely seems impressive from what I've seen so far. The graphics are lackluster from the trailers that I've seen. No better than Saints Row 3 in my opinion. But still, the Saints Row 3 graphics are quite nice, and it's got a really fun physics engine built into it. Have I missed anything on that, Connor?
On Saints Row 4, no.
Saints
not
Row
really.
4.
It's just no. I think you've covered everything.
Right. Okay, so Ali, is there any new releases that you've been looking for, or that you're looking forward to?
No, I'm just more concerned about Saints Row 4. Like, obviously, with 1 and 2, obviously the story mode was quite good, like the story in it. The third one, they says they're gonna tie up loose ends. They fucking didn't, right? They didn't. Whatever happened to Dex, it never actually tells you. I was like, oh man, I wanted to see him.
But the Gatmobile. That's all I have to say about Saints Row 3. The Gatmobile is by far the coolest thing that I've seen in a long time. I mean, I'm not sure if you've experienced what the Gatmobile is, but you've got to have come across it. It's pretty much a big purple van with a Johnny Gat head on the front that breathes fire everywhere.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
You like the VTOL more though, don't you? You just zip around on that.
Oh yeah, I love the VTOL, but like that's something that they'll see when we live stream Saints Row 3 at some point. So what other games are on the new releases then, Connor?
GTA 5, can't wait for that.
Oh yeah, GTA 5. So tell us a bit more about this then.
Oh, Jesus, I don't know that much. There's like 3 characters you can like swap between, like whilst in game or some crap, like using the phone or something. I don't know. But it's set in San Andreas, well, Los Santos, and that's like the first island in San Andreas. But like they've made it bigger or some shit, and yeah, it's looking good.
Right. So, just got a trailer playing up for that now in the bottom corner. Obviously,
I'm sorry, they've made the first island bigger or some shit. That's going to be great on like a trailer, just like the first island, and it's like it's bigger and shit.
Yeah.
Be a good guy for once. A family man.
but yeah, I mean, I've seen a few trailers of GTA 5. The graphics on it looked really good on some trailers and really bad on others, so I'm quite unsure about how it's going to be. I mean, no doubt, like every GTA, it's going to have a lot of fun involved, especially when playing with friends, doing crazy things online. And you're going to get up to some fun driving and all that shit. As is expected from every GTA game, no doubt. But as for the other stuff, I mean, I'm not sure if it's got any truly, like, new age gameplay in it, or if it's just going to be like GTA 4 with better graphics and new missions. Because that is how I feel that GTA may end up being. Literally, like, almost like a Call of Duty, where every Call of Duty is just the same game with a new skin on top of it. But I don't know what anyone else thinks about that.
Will you be buying it and like streaming it and stuff?
I don't know if I'm actually going to be buying it and or streaming it. I mean, I really didn't play that much GTA 4. I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, GTA San Andreas and everything was really fun, and then GTA 4 really was disappointing to say the least. It really wasn't that much difference from the other GTAs. It was, you know, just another GTA game. Steal cars, kill prostitutes after having sex with them in back alley so you can get your money back, buy guns, the same stuff over and over really, just on a newer graphics engine. So I mean, it was quite disappointing in that sense. But then at the same sense, the graphics were really nice on it, and the car handling was really different.
Yeah, but the multiplayer were like the best thing. I can remember just playing that non-stop with my mates, like after school and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I did play quite a lot of it. To start with, like the tugboat that you can get and all that kind of stuff was really interesting. But it quickly lost its appeal to me, in all honesty.
Well, people just started modding and stuff on Xbox, and it would just, I don't know. It's like having hackers on DayZ. It's no fun to play anymore. Yeah,
exactly. So then the next game that we've got, which a few people have heard about, is obviously The Elder Scrolls Online. Now this is a really anticipated title, but personally I don't see the appeal to it. It's massive at the minute, like it's blowing up all over. People are really happy for it coming out because, you know, it's Skyrim Online. But I think that this could actually be a breaking point for the Elder Scrolls series.
I agree.
I mean, honestly, I think that the appeal in Skyrim is the fact that you are the only sort of sentient player, and so everything you do is completely on your own accord. I think when you take away the entire ability to be in a free roam world, and you then put yourself in a scenario where there are hundreds or thousands of people doing the same thing as you or wanting to try and oppose that, I think that that's definitely going to ruin it somewhat. I mean, it might not ruin it completely, and it might end up being really good, but from what I see so far, it's not winning it for me. It's certainly not winning me over. I don't know how you feel about that, Connor and Ali.
I'm not bothered about Elder Scrolls Online that much. Just I don't know. I like my MMOs a bit, but don't feel my path of whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the problem that I have with it. I think that Skyrim, as great as a game as it is good because it's single player. It feels like an MMO, because the AI, although sometimes retarded, is good, and the quests are seemingly endless. But when you put that into an MMO, you effectively just have a first-person World of Warcraft, where you have appeal, and then it dies out very quickly, and you find yourself just doing the same repetitive grind. Because an Elder Scrolls game doesn't have an end game, and every MMO has to have an end game, otherwise it's not an MMO. You're gonna die out of it very quickly. So I can't see how they can add an MMO, like sort of the end game aspect to it in any sense of the word, without making it just the same as like WoW or Guild Wars 2, where it's just a repetitive grind to get your gear or anything like that. I mean, do you have anything to say on this, Ali?
Well, you've got to differentiate that ZeniMax aren't Blizzard. You know, they're not going to be polishing a turd for 2 years, then releasing the game, and it's still crap. This is going to be the Elder Scrolls. Obviously, it's such a big franchise now that they're going to spend a while on it, but they're also going to be listening to fans, something Blizzard don't do, and obviously Guild Wars and all that. So, I'm going to give it a go. I'm not going to hold my breath saying that it's going to be as good as Skyrim or actually the Xbox versions or such.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, by no means am I saying that it's going to be horrible. I'm just saying that I feel if you give a game an end game, then there is some inbuilt grind to get there and achieve that, or at least some form of undesirable activity that's going to very quickly grow weary. I don't think that there's any point, I don't think that you can make an end game that doesn't require a lot of work to complete, otherwise it isn't an end game. I mean, if you take away the end game from a game, on an MMO like that, then there really is no playability. It's not like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game where after you've got to max level you can still play because the point of the game is still there. There's only so many quests. And, I mean, I don't know if there is going to be PvP on TSO, I've not really looked that much into it. But
yeah, there will be.
Yeah, if there is, then, I mean, that's going to be something that's really hard to balance, because obviously leveling up, as a mage, at least on all the Elder Scrolls thus far, leveling up as a mage is actually really easy, whereas a thief is hard. Now, when you put that into a PvP scenario, how do you balance that? Because then that means you've either got to try and make it so everything has the same trouble or the same ease leveling, and then you have to try and balance it all. And I think that the engine and the gameplay that revolves around Elder Scrolls games thus far really cannot work in a sense that can be balanced easily at all, no matter how much you listen to players. If you listen to players too much, then everything's going to get nerfed through the floor and there will just be like a god class to go. Or if you don't listen to the players enough, then the way that it is at the moment, you're going to have sort of levels where things are OP, and eventually you're going to have the god class as well. I mean, this has been shown in many, many games. The PvP can never be truly balanced unless everyone has the same access to every ability. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, Ali, being a big MMO player.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but obviously this is the beauty in it being it's going to be the first time it's online and such. So you're going to work with them to sort of sort it all out. Me, I'm not really a PvP kind of person. I'm more about running into a wall or something. So for me, I'll just be happy running around like a twat.
Yeah, but I mean, the same goes with this that it goes with WoW. I mean, you can run around like a twat for years on WoW, but how many days can you spend running around like a twat before it gets boring? The same goes for PvP. The same goes for everything on a game. Like, I don't think there's ever been a game that can literally pick someone up and keep them there 30 years later, you know? Every game gets tiring, and the only thing that concerns me is the Elder Scrolls Online might get tiring a little too quickly.
Yeah, I suppose. But then again, you've got the lore as well, and this is going to be 2,000 years before, obviously, all the dragons and such.
You see, you talk about lore, but then I want to refer you to the Old Republic, the Star Wars MMO. That was covered in lore. That game was built pretty much solely around the lore, especially while leveling, and honestly, the dialogue ruined the game for me. It was a poorly optimized game that couldn't run on a lot of, like, pretty decent systems. It was just so cluttered. It was really badly made, and the dialogue was so tedious. Like, if I play an MMO personally, I don't give a damn about lore. I play to... If I'm doing a quest, I pick up the quest, I hand the quest in. I don't read the quest log. I don't want to go through a 10,000 word dialogue scenario with an NPC. I want... Give me mission, I accept mission, do mission, hand mission in. And a lot of players have that. I mean, there are players that like having a lot of lore, but I think it's awkward to get lore in without forcing it upon everybody. And if you force it upon everybody, then you lose a lot of the more narrow-minded players that are in it purely for its MMO purpose. I mean, I don't know how you feel about, obviously, the lore and stuff, but with Skyrim, it's fun to listen to them. But if you're trying to do a mission and trying to level, then, you know, the lore can be a bit tedious. I don't know, give me your feedback on that.
Yeah, this is another problem with me. Obviously, I like the lore, and obviously, yeah, it's good, but a lot of people aren't going to be able to understand because they're not like hardcore gamers. Like they're not like hardcore actually into the Elder Scrolls. They just obviously played like Skyrim. They've never played anything before that or any other things. So they're going to have to try and incorporate everything else into that. Obviously the online version.
Yeah, exactly. You see, this is what concerns me about Skyrim. The game itself, oh well, not the Skyrim, sorry, the Elder Scrolls Online. The game itself is obviously going to be massive, and if you try and compress Skyrim into something that you can make an MMO, or Oblivion into something you can make an MMO, or something with that much lore into an MMO, you've either got to skip chunks out, or put so much in that people begin to hate the game because of it. Like, it's like at the start of Star Wars, the Old Republic, I loved the fact that you could really, like, get into all the missions and know everything about it. But then I quickly grew tired of it when I was like, look, I just want to kill the goddamn cows outside the town. I don't need to have, like, a 15-minute dialogue with an NPC to tell me to go kill cows. I don't need to know what the cow's name is, when it was born, whose children it ate. I just care about where cow is, how to kill cow, and how many cows I have to kill, and that's it. And the fact that you couldn't choose between whether you wanted to go through dialogue fast or not was really a turn-off for me with that game. And I'm worried that TISO is going to end up in the same kettle of fish as that, where the lore is forced on you.
Well, at least you're not gonna. Well, no, actually, the biggest problem for me with this whole franchise now is that it's going to be, where are the dragons? Oh no, I've got an arrow in my knee. You know, I think that's going to ruin it for me, and I'm going to have to turn off the chat.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to be a big thing. You are going to get the sort of one-time game players that have played like one Elder Scrolls game and then base everything around that, or the memes that go with it. But I mean, the memes that go with games don't necessarily ruin them. I mean, look at League of Legends. There's a ton that's around that, and that game's still fun as hell. I mean, there's League of Draven, there's Better Nerf Irelia, there's tons of memes surrounding League, but I mean, I don't think that the memes and sort of the comments and stuff ruin the game. I think that, like, shallow-minded people also, I mean, you get shallow-minded people on every game. No doubt you get them on Guild Wars 2, you get them on WoW, you get people that have not, I mean, I'm one, I didn't play any or hear any of the Warcraft lore prior to playing WoW. The same with Diablo 3, so I mean, you do get the shallow-minded players, but the trick is you have to make it so it's appealing to those, and then appealing also to the hardcore players, something that Diablo apparently didn't do very well. A lot of the hardcore Diablo fans were disappointed with Diablo 3.
I think a lot of non-Diablo fans were very upset with that as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's Blizzard. That's the case of what happens if you listen to fans too heavily. You listen to your player base, and they're like, oh, this is too hard, so you nerf it through the floor, and boom, you lose 30% of your players because you've made the game so a 6-year-old can play it.
Exactly. Blizzard, we polish shit, and it's still shit.
But, I mean, at the same time as that, you've got the fact that if you don't listen to your players, then you've got a chance of losing players also because the game's too hard, and in this day and age, difficulty is something that is not deserved. Like, people don't like hard games anymore, but that's because I'm pretty sure, like, the gaming populace is getting younger each year as things obviously become more readily available. So that's certainly something that you've got to sort of try and balance out, again, difficulty or a difficulty scaling, which you can't do on an MMO. On Skyrim, you can go for Legendary or Novice, you can choose. You can't do that on an MMO. You can't say, I want this to be harder. I mean, Diablo sort of has it, but that's a dungeon crawler, that's a completely different thing. That's not an open world MMO where you can walk around. You can't just say, I want to be on MP10 and fight the same boar that someone that's not on MP10 is. And then the only way to do that is by separating up your player base to certain worlds that have more complex gameplay or more difficult gameplay, and then that separates your player base and stops the whole community feel of an MMO. So I feel that, as far as the difficulty slider goes, it's a really difficult battle to win.
Yeah, well, you see, I agree with you there. Obviously, the whole difficulty thing, because there's obviously going to be hardcore players and people who are still new. So I'm really intrigued to see how they're going to handle that, personally, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I'm interested in. Connor, have you seen anything about the Elder Scrolls Online and you'd like to feed any input back?
Nah, I'm not really bothered about it. Not being like ignorant and stuff, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not everyone's kettle of fish again. I mean, you're not much of an MMO player. However, there is a game I know you're looking forward to, which is Battlefield 4. So, there was a release on, well, a trailer release of that a while ago now. It's not a new release. The 17-minute gameplay footage. Now, I heard a lot of disappointment surrounding this. I personally thought that the game looked amazing. What were your opinions of it, Connor?
Well, it sort of looked like Battlefield 3, innit? But it's... all we've seen is that 17 minutes of gameplay. We haven't seen, like, anything else. We've just seen, like, one story mode, well, one level of a story and all that. I don't know. It's not really... I don't know, it's not really fishing me.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something to look at. It does look a lot like Battlefield 3. I'm not going to deny that. But I think that there's a lot of potential in it. The physics engine looks a little bit more detailed than it did. The way that, obviously, buildings crumble and stuff. But this is a scripted mission. So there's a lot of room for disappointment. But I doubt we're going to get a multiplayer teaser until, you know, the game is about released. There are obviously beta play. I think the beta is currently closed. If you pre-order it, you can play it, but I'm not completely sure. But that's something that is definitely worth looking towards in terms of if you're wanting to find out how the game's changed. I've got the trailer playing now, so that people that haven't seen it can see. I mean, I'm not going to play it all, obviously, because it's 17 minutes, and I'm not sure I can talk about Battlefield 4 for that long. But... I mean, the graphics on it are as the same as Battlefield 3 are. They're absolutely gorgeous graphics. They are, like, next level first-person shooter graphics that still keeps the arcadey feel to things while giving it a little more complexity. I mean, how do you feel about Battlefield 4, Ali?
Yeah, I think it's going to be worth a shot, but obviously it's EA, isn't it?
DICE, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I mean, it does look quite good. The graphics looking rather amazing, but they've got to... I just hope it doesn't end up like COD, where everything's just so repetitive.
Well, I mean, it's going to be the same as Battlefield 3 in some aspect, because it's going to be a sense that, you know, what you play is... Oh, I just paused it accidentally. But what you play is what you get. If you play Call of Duty online, then you're going to have a lot of running and, you know, no-scoping and all that bullshit. But if that's something you enjoy, then that's a different story. Now, I don't enjoy that. I enjoy Battlefield because the game itself is really, really good, and it's really nice, and the physics engine really wins me over. The fact that you can blow up buildings and stuff like that, it really gives it a much more immersive feel, in my opinion. And, like, here, on the trailer at the minute, I'm not sure if anyone can see it. Well, I know that the viewers can, but I'm not sure if you two can. But, yeah. It's this kind of lighting engine and physics engine and just the entire graphic style that really immerses me a lot more than a Call of Duty game. It's just so, like, it's not simple, but it's not overly complex. Like, I find that Arma 3 is a game that has an absolutely stunning game engine, but it is really, really, unless you're really into hardcore military sort of precision gameplay, it's not a game for you, because you will get one-shotted, and you can one-shot, and that's it. You need to you work with your team. Now, Battlefield is a game that is amplified by having team play, but you can easily go lone wolf without being one of those little, like, dipshits on COD that will run around and just quick scope and no scope and sort of, you know, misuse the guns. I like Battlefield because you have to use the guns responsibly, because it's not as arcadey as COD, but it's not quite as simulatory as Arma 3. I think that Battlefield has a really good mix between the two. I mean, what are your opinions of Battlefield, Connor? I mean, I know me and you have shared many a night on Battlefield.
Many a night. Well, it's just, I don't know. Like, the graphics is just mainly just a bit more better. Well, oh my god, I just said that fucking more better. But it's just a bit, I don't know, it's amped up a bit, the graphics. It's just, I don't know. It just seems like it could be an add-on or something for Battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that you can look
Battlefield
at.
3.
It certainly could be DLC.
And consoles, the graphics is like top-down. I hope it's like alright for next-gen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, these next-gen consoles, we are yet to see quite how amazing these can be. I mean, can you remember how good the Xbox graphics were when they first came out? The Xbox 360? The games that came out on those really weren't that impressive, but it was towards the end of the sort of the life of the console where you really do see the best out of it. So that's something that you have to look at. We're not going to see much from next-gen consoles until maybe a year or 6 months or 18 months into that console's life, when people can really start pushing the boundaries of it. I mean, what are your opinions of these new next-gen consoles that we've got coming out, Ali?
I'm still totally in love with my 360 at the moment, to be honest. I think they're going to be too much hype, to be honest. Like, really, I think I'm trying to hype them up to be that, obviously, oh yeah, they're the next gen, it's going to be so much better. But until I see what new games are coming out, then maybe I'll give them a go.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've fully converted to PC gaming at this point, so I'm not going to be getting a console. But I'm not sure if the next-gen consoles are going to be powerful enough to put PC gaming out of its way. Like, apparently next-gen consoles are going to be really competitive with PC gamers and offer the same level of graphics, which I don't see to be possible without...
Not possible, no.
Yeah, I mean, with a PC, you obviously can upgrade reactively. If a game comes out that you want, and you want to run it on the best, you can upgrade. You can't upgrade your Xbox or your PlayStation constantly without forking out more money, and then that is just a PC that you put in your living room instead. And, you know, it depends. I don't think that it's going to be able to rival PC gaming as much as the cost of the actual console will merit. I mean, it's going to be like, what, £300, £400, £500 when they come out? That's a lot of money on a console that you could easily build a... for that amount of money, you could build a very, very respectable gaming computer, which is something that you have to look at, and then you have to sort of wonder which is more cause for merit. Will the gaming computer perform better than the console, or will the console be worth it? I mean, I'm really unsure at this point, and that's my major worry about consoles.
Yeah, it's like what Flaming Gage just said in the chat.
Yep.
The new console gen may be PC quality release, but PC tech upgrades far too quickly, which is obviously is true.
Yeah, I mean the GTX Titan that's been released, that is an absolutely amazing graphics card. It's expensive.
Is a beauty.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. The things that thing can do are, like, they are next level graphics going on right there. We're talking like almost photorealism with facial expression and stuff, and I mean, that's not even it fully harnessed. That was like a small demo of what the thing's capable of. You build an entire game engine around this photorealism, and I mean, the next thing you know, you've got virtual reality gaming going on. And I mean, the closest thing we've got to that at the minute is obviously the Wii, which we won't talk about because
Huh?
I don't think the Wii is any cause for a conversation. I mean, that's an old console. It's good for families and it's good for parties because everybody can play a Wii. I mean, I can give the little Wii controllers to my nana or to my brother, and they can just flail them around like a maniac and play a game. So, I mean, it's good, but I honestly consider the Wii more of a fitness thing or more of a, like, family or party thing than I do an actual gaming console, which I think a lot of people have adapted to that as well now.
Oh, it's something just to pass the time.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the closest we have currently to sort of an active, almost virtual realism game. Now, I think the way that this Titan's going, if more graphics cards are produced like that, we definitely could see a big influx on the whole virtual reality gaming, and I think it's only so long before we start getting that sort of gameplay coming out, or the sort of technology required to merit that gameplay.
Oh yeah.
Do we need the Battlefield 4 17-minute trailer still?
I'm just keeping it up until there's another trailer up. I mean, we're talking about the next consoles that come out.
Well, there's 2 new games I'm quite excited about, and that is obviously the new Splinter Cell Blacklist and the new Rainbow Six, which is something I've been waiting for long enough.
There's a new Rainbow Six?
I believe there is, yeah, Patriots.
Oh, let me get a trailer up for this.
Yep, it's due to be Splinter Cell is due to be released August 23rd, I believe, in EU.
Right, let me get up a. Here we go. The
I'll tell you,
Patriots exclusive trailer.
I've seen the game. I've seen a trailer for Patriots. It looks alright, but again, repetitive. This whole new Splinter Cell, it just changes gameplay completely. You got different modes to choose from, rather than choosing whether to sneak through or assault. You have to choose before the game. The level starts, I believe.
That seems very interesting then.
And it adds like a recon plane, so you can fly through, take out tech units, which can obviously disable your sonar goggles and everything.
That certainly seems interesting. I mean, lately I've been slacking on the Splinter Cell games. They really got disappointing, like, at Double Agent for me. I didn't enjoy Double Agent at all, and I've not really played another one since then. So, I'm not really up to date on the whole thing regarding that. But obviously that's how I stand with it. If this next Splinter Cell is as good as, like, obviously you're making it sound out to be, then it could be really changing. I mean, I presume that there will be more players like me that really didn't enjoy a certain game of it. But if this is sort of a new approach, then that's certainly something we can look forward to as, like, people that didn't particularly enjoy the game previously.
Oh yeah, like it's like, compare it to obviously the Hitman that's just come out. They obviously give you the option to blast your way through like a madman, or like go sneaky. If you do use your guns, it's terrible. Obviously the aim on it is just so slow, it's so crap. With the Splinter Cell, it will give you the option, you know, to go sneaking or just be a nutter, and you can quickly change back, I think. And you can now whistle to distract people down towards you, rather than actually having to get seen and then hide.
Well, no, I mean, you could whistle on other Splinter Cell games, at least on the older ones. Whistling was a big part of Splinter Cell, in fact. But
you couldn't do it in Conviction. You had to use a camera that made a noise to draw them over.
No, you see, in the really old Splinter Cells, whistling was a big part of the game. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's good to know that it's back. Just to what Jackie am saying in chat, would you want a photorealistic game? It'd take away from the experience. I definitely agree with that, Jack. I think that if you take away some of the arcadeness from a game and it gets so realistic that it's almost playing, then it really does sort of ruin the entire effect of a game. It takes it away from being fun to something that's arguably just you living a second life or something along those lines. And I can't say that I'm looking particularly forward to something like that. But I don't think games will ever get to that level of graphics. I think that people will realise that this isn't what's wanted, and obviously the graphics will at some point plateau out, and they'll improve, no doubt. But I think once people get to a happy level or a happy medium of gameplay, or gameplay graphics, then they'll start focusing more on gameplay itself. Because I feel at the minute, with a lot of new releases, a lot of companies focus more on putting their funding into graphics and game apparel than they do in gameplay or replayability. I feel that a lot of the better looking games really don't have replayability or need to play games in the first place. I mean, I'm not sure how you feel about that, Ali.
Well, let's face it, you play a game to get away from real life, don't you?
Yep, that's very true.
You don't want to go into a game where it's so realistic, it's sort of like you've not left the real world and you've still got your problems right there during the game.
You leave your real world where you've got problems of depression and anxiety and go to your game life, which is then depression, anxiety, and someone throwing grenades at you.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't think that would really work.
Yep. And
well, I quite enjoyed Max Payne 3.
Yeah, the Max Payne games, from what I've played of them, were really fun. I enjoyed the Max... Well, I mean, I think I played Max Payne 2, but I enjoyed it.
Oh, that was a beauty.
I still need to get Far Cry 3, if we're talking about games that, you know, are in the past. Far Cry 3 seems really good. The graphics engine on it is really nice as well. That's definitely a game that I'm looking forward to getting at some point.
Crysis 3 as well.
Is Crysis 3 any good? I mean, I know that you sort of have a much wider taste in games than me. Talk to us a little bit about Crysis 3.
Oh god. I don't think it's that great. It's alright, but like, it's just all fucking visuals, isn't it?
Yeah, Crysis is I think Crysis is a lot more aesthetically pleasing than it is gameplay pleasing. I mean, I heard Crysis 2 was quite the flop. Crysis 1 was obviously a massive game. It was a game that really couldn't be enjoyed until a decade after its release by anyone that didn't have like a £10,000 computer. But I think that, you know, they're very nice to look at. I've never completed Crysis 1 actually. That's a game that I could stream. I've done like the first mission of it, I think, and got bored. But, well, not bored, but I just didn't play it. But other than that, I think that they're very nice to look at, but they don't have a lot of gameplay. As Jackiem's just said in chat, Crysis 3 was beautiful, but it lacked depth. Which goes back to my original point, games are putting funding into graphics and not into gameplay. And I feel that that's where a lot of companies go wrong nowadays.
Yeah. But then there's the thing, like, obviously there's too much gameplay.
Well, I don't think a scenario can exist where you can have too much gameplay. I mean, look at Skyrim or Oblivion or stuff like that. There is endless quests there, like theoretically endless quests. So many. That is, you know, realistically endless gameplay. But that doesn't get boring. I mean, it will get boring eventually, but it's got a lot of replayability to it. That's a big difference than... But that game still looks good as well. I don't see why a lot of companies can't get the sort of... I mean, I can't get the same kind of gameplay from it, but I don't see... I mean, obviously I don't see a first-person shooter being able to get that kind of depth. You really can't put that much depth into a first-person shooter, especially that's got an online element based on it. But I feel...
Well, I mean, Borderlands tried. I mean, you've got Borderlands. The first one was alright. And then you've got Borderlands 2, which was... To me, the quests and the gameplay got boring after about 2 days. Because I was just running around, going backwards and forwards. Each quest takes about an hour. And I just felt like it dragged on.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously... I've not played Borderlands 2 yet. That's a game that I'm planning on investing in at some point. But I feel that some games really don't have the option for depth, whereas other games have so much option for depth, but lack it. And it's those games that really annoy me, because I'm not being funny, but if I pay £40 or £50 for a game, I want my money's worth. I don't want a game that's going to last me a day for 50 quid. The same as I don't want to pay 10 quid for a game that's going to last me a month. I think those prices could be inverted. I think, like, the new Call of Duty game that got announced, Ghosts, we've not really touched upon that yet. There was obviously a teaser about that game, and I think that that's just another Call of Duty game. I mean, honestly, there's really not been anything groundbreaking. I mean, it was only a teaser, so it's not the full thing. But I at least feel that it's missing something. It's not got anything groundbreaking, but at the same time, I don't blame it. I mean, it is a Call of Duty game. There's nothing you can really do to advance on that, as far as I'm concerned. It's a first-person shooter. You do your mission, and then you go and you shoot people online, and that's it. That's all there is to it, as far as I'm concerned. You can't add depth to a first-person shooter.
Oh, that fucking teaser. Some men wear masks to protect themselves. Alright, Nicolas Cage, we get the fucking picture. They're masks. You know, it's just going to be exactly the same. I'm sorry to say it, but it's, you know, what to do, you're going to be wearing a mask.
Yeah, I mean, it could have a different style of gameplay, but I mean, once, you know, the major COD populace of, like, angsty teenagers, like 12 to 15-year-olds get on it, it's going to go back to the same as it was. And I think that that's the be-all and end-all of what Call of Duty's ended as. I'm not a Call of Duty hater. I hate the player base. The player base ruins the game for me. And the fact that they really do just have god guns. Call of Duty 4, you see anyone not using an M16, then they're an idiot. I mean, that's pretty much all that's used, that or the M40A3. Call of Duty 5, the MP40 Juggernaut. Modern Warfare 2, obviously the FAMAS, or the M16 again, or the ACR. Every Call of Duty game has god guns, and to me, that's really disappointing, because it really does take away from the game. I mean, you get that on Battlefield as well, don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying that I favour Battlefield. I do favour Battlefield, but not for the gameplay. I favour it because the player base is much more varied. The M416 on Battlefield 3 is... the M416 is the god gun, but it's not used by everybody. It can be used by everybody. You unlock it early, the same as all the god guns on Call of Duty, but nobody seems to use it, and that's because there's so many other good guns that can beat it, and because Battlefield guns have an effective range. Like, you can get a cross-map kill with an MP7, but why would you do that when you can use a sniper that actually the bullets are more accurate than that of a submachine gun? And I think that's something that Call of Duty really needs to implement, and the quicker they do, the quicker they'll get a lot of, like, they'll steal a lot of the market away from Battlefield, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's the same. Like, they're just doing quantity rather than quality. They're just releasing them way too fast. It's always like the 2nd November of every year, and it's like, why don't you spend more time in actually developing the multiplayer to make it more fun, add more things, you know, develop the guns better and everything like that, rather than just releasing new ones and branching them off. Because it's sort of like, I don't know what, like the 8th game. It's sort of like, stop making them now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a big point. What is your opinion about Call of Duty Ghosts, Connor?
Don't get me started. It's just going to be the same. It's just... what are they... Even masks in trailer look terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, and it's kind of a teaser, but it's Call of Duty. I mean, that, as far as I'm concerned with Call of Duty, it's dead. The game franchise is dead to anything. There's no new gamers that are going to go to it and really love it, unless they're, like, hiding under a rock and the only first-person shooter they're exposed to is Call of Duty. There's games out there now that do it better. They do it with more realism, more arcade, a nice mixture of both. There's a lot more variety. Call of Duty was good in its heyday. Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty 5, those games were good, and they were rivals to Battlefield games. And I mean, Rainbow Six Vegas was obviously a big game back in Call of Duty 4 days, and in my opinion, Rainbow Six Vegas was a much better shooter. But at the same time, you know, people go with where players are. There wasn't a very big player base in Rainbow Six Vegas. There was a really big player base on Call of Duty, so people, they sort of immigrate over games, which I think also means a lot of the better games go with a much less coverage. They go through a lot less media coverage and a lot less sort of verbal passing on of how good something is, and I think that that is a real letdown in the long run with some games.
Yeah. See, for me, the thing that started off for me with these first-person shooters was obviously Unreal, and then to me, I sort of went off onto Medal of Honor, which was just running through with obviously like the biggest gun you've got, shooting and just dying in like a hail of bullets, and that was fun for me. Now when I play a shooting game, I just rage. If I go back to Medal of Honor, I would laugh if I died.
Yeah. I think that first-person shooters are... I think that they're quickly dying out. They're hard to balance. They've not got as much depth as other games do. Touching on what Flaming Gears said, Blacklight Retribution I found to be really disappointing. I think that game is really pay to win. It does say that I'm playing Skyrim, huh? Huh, that's strange. That shouldn't say that. Let me change that quickly. Playing nothing. Okay. So it should be saying not playing, but you know that's neither here nor there. But I think that Blacklight Retribution was really pay to win. It really let me down. I downloaded the game after seeing nothing but good reviews about it, and then I found myself in this game that, unless I either had invested many hours into, or opened up my wallet to, there was no way for me to get the better guns. And I feel that a lot of the maps, especially with it being in a random rotation, people that have played a lot longer have... they have... You know, they've got such different combat meetings, I forgot the word that I'm saying, but that you can't go with just a standard cookie-cutter class, and unless you've played hundreds of games, or you pay to win, you don't have enough guns to cover that. Like, I had the starting gun, which I know the starting guns suck, and that goes to say with every first-person shooter for the most part, but then I was on maps where the average engagement was at like 100 meters, and people with a rifle chassis were completely outmatching me. So then I'd rent a rifle chassis, and then on the next map you've got something that's like engaging at a mega close range with a rapid fire submachine gun, and you can't, as a new player, you cannot get good balance as a new player, in my opinion, and it really annoyed me. It put me off the game almost immediately. I think I played like 10 or 15 matches, and there wasn't one game where I found that I had ample time, without spending hundreds of hours, to learn the game engine. There wasn't a tutorial, or if there was, it wasn't very in-depth, and the progression system on it obviously is very low. There isn't much progression. It's a lot more based around renting. But those credits, you can't get a refund, and if you buy the wrong gun or it turns out to be shit, there's no way of you to know until you've bought it. And I think that is a big difference, and the difference with that to Call of Duty is you can go on Call of Duty and all the bullets go the exact area you point them at. So really it doesn't matter what gun you use on Call of Duty, everything's going to one-shot someone if you shoot at them. And, excuse me, there's really no spray or no gun that's better at certain ranges. I mean, you can snipe someone cross-map with a pistol, and you can no-scope someone at point-blank range with a sniper. Battlefield, obviously that is slightly true, but at the same time, you can burst fire, and then your bullets are more accurate as a rifle or a submachine gun. Not quite as good as a sniper, but they can compete. I found on Blacklight Retribution that I really could not compete. If I tried, I got absolutely demolished, and it really put me off the game. Like, I'm not bad at shooting, and I'm not bad at picking stuff up, but that game has such a different learning curve from other first-person shooters that unless that's the only one you've played, it's really hard to get into. It's a good game, don't get me wrong, and the graphics on it are nice, and everything's nice about it. I just feel that it is... I think that it's definitely got a lot of a pay-to-win feature on it. I mean, Ali, Connor, have either of you played Blacklight Retribution?
Which one's that one? Is it there's two in there?
Yeah, there's Blacklight and Blacklight Retribution, I believe.
I played the first one, and like there were a trial or something. I played that, and I didn't like it that much.
Right. Ali, have you played Blacklight Retribution?
No, I'm looking up at it now. It does look quite good, to be honest.
It's good. I mean, I enjoyed the game engine, but I didn't enjoy the gameplay. I think if I gave it a day or a week of play, I could get into it and enjoy it more. But I think that that is a game that really relies on team far too much for a game of that sort. It's a free-to-play game that relies heavily on teamwork, because otherwise you can't cover all engagement ranges yourself. Like, if me, you, and Connor were to play it, we could do something in an arrangement that, like, I've got long range, you've got short range, Connor's got mid range. Kind of like how you set up a DayZ platoon, or a Battlefield squad. But I think that as a lone wolf trying to play it, you really are at a disadvantage, which I don't think is present in Call of Duty or Battlefield or even Arma. So that's what puts me off of it. I don't like games that you have to play with people to be able to enjoy.
Yeah, but if you do work as a team, then, and obviously if something goes wrong, then there's going to be a flame war.
Not always. I mean, how many times have things gone wrong on DayZ, Connor? Let's go back to something now where you do have to work as a team to survive.
Well, if there's many times where like you've rage quit because you've died.
Oh yeah, there's times where I've rage quit, but there's never been a flame war between ourselves over something. Like, we've never got into a massive fight over the game, I mean, obviously there has been scenarios where we've got peeved off with one another, but there's never been a scenario where, like, you'd get, or I'd get, or John would get into a massive, like, angry, angsty, like, verbal flame war with each other. I mean, I've
God,
never...
no.
What was that, sorry, Connor?
God, no. Well, it's just a game, you can respawn anyway and get your gear back. No point in fighting.
I don't think that just because you work as a team, if you have a weak link in that team, it ends up in a flame war. I think that it is difficult to it's difficult to get that balance, but I think that, like, how effective a squad is how well the squad meshes together. If you've got two very alpha people and one dies, then yes, there will be a flame war, but that's their fault. That's not a fault of the game. That's not the fault of the fact that it makes you work as a team. That is a fault of the fact that Captain Dickwad chose to be friends with Captain Cumstain. Like, they're both horrible people, and they're obviously not going to get along. If you have people that work together and can understand and sort of play on the same level, then you're going to get a good amount of teamwork where a mistake is nothing more than a learning experience. It's kind of like if you play Arma 3 and you're doing a mission with friends, and you have one friend that thinks it's COD, and then two friends that are really into, like, military precision movement. That one guy that's playing COD is going to die and get stressed, whereas the other two are going to not die and they're going to enjoy the game. That is the two people's fault for inviting the COD player, because he's not going to mesh into the game properly. And I think that that's an important factor with a lot of first-person shooters, and I think that's where a lot of sort of why people like certain games comes into it.
Yeah. I suppose, obviously, people are going to say, obviously look at the game and the screenshots and such and think, oh, this game looks awesome, it's like COD, it looks like COD, but then when they get into it, it's completely different. And obviously they're going to chat so much, well, shit, basically, because like, oh yeah, I'm pro on COD, my kill-death ratio, and then you're sort of like, well, this isn't COD, kid, you know, get off and go do your homework.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously that's something that's completely different. That's a player-based sort of driven thing. And again, that's just teenagers being teenagers. They all want to be, you know, the best for some reason. But, I mean, I've had League of Legends mentioned in stream chat. That is a game that I don't feel you're forced to pay for. You pay to look pretty. Now, I'm a sucker for looking pretty. I buy tons of skins. I've spent far too much on that game. But for me to be the strongest I can be on League doesn't require me to buy anything. I can play that game completely free and be just as effective as the wallet warrior next door that spent $4 grand on the game. Yeah, he's going to look better, but a skin doesn't change anything. You said it in terms of needing a team to enjoy. Again, I disagree. I've had a lot of fun playing ARAMs. I've had a lot of fun playing normal games with randoms, and sometimes you meet dicks, don't get me wrong, and you can get into a bit of an unhappy game scenario with it. But at the same time, you can get into that with a team. It only takes. I've had more flame wars or more angry discussions by playing a League game than I have playing any other game, because oh, we lost this game. Okay, so you're stuck in a game for 40 minutes, then you lose it. Why did you lose it? It's because top lane fed. Who was top lane? Oh, I was top lane, but I fed because the jungler didn't come. Why didn't the jungler come? Because bot lane was loot. And it quickly, like, I think that League is really easy just to pin all the blame of a team on one person, and that really makes it easy as a pre-made team to flame each other, which is a really dangerous. It is a volatile game. It's very, very easy to ignite someone, especially in the midst of a bad game. But at the same time, if you're playing well as a team and you win a game, you feel really good, and you're like, yeah, we're a good team. Which is why I like League so much. I enjoy the game because it gives you a feeling of satisfaction when you win, and the most depressing feeling in the world when you lose an hour-long game. And I think that's a really good balance of emotions to put in a video game. Excuse me. I mean, Ali, you've played a fair amount of League. What are your opinions of it? Other than Parasite.
I've played about 3 games altogether online with other people, so I'm pretty pro. Yeah, it's alright. I mean, you can get grasp into it. You can sort of get really behind the character. You can sit on the edge of your seat. You can end up shouting stuff like "suck my nuts" when you're dropping out the sky as Panth. But when you do get that satisfaction of working as a team, when you're typing to each other saying, you know, obviously the alerting of the ping saying that someone's coming this way, but then, or like you say, when you lose, you feel utter shit, especially if you lose against bots, which obviously is
something
that's
I've
never
done.
happened to me. No, it's a thing though. I know it is. But like you said, obviously there would be a flame war if you lose, and with the tribunal kind of thing that's in set there, when obviously players report other players, it starts a problem there.
So, I mean, we've discussed a lot of games. We're actually coming up to the hour. Well, we've just passed an hour. Been an hour and 3 minutes now. So I think we're going to start wrapping it up. Before we end the podcast, we're going to do like 5 minutes of just questions. If anybody wants to ask anything, then we'll answer them. If nobody has any questions, then we'll end the stream here and I'll be going back to streaming Skyrim. So, does anyone have any questions?
Should play some music while like the stream catches up.
Yeah.
Like elevator music.
I'll be putting some music, and I'm going to put some on quietly now. There we go.
I feel like we should have spoken about Chivalry, to be honest, because that's a game that game's still on the rise.
Yeah, Chivalry, well, I mean, if you want to talk about that now, we can. We're certainly on no time limit. But, yeah, I mean, Chivalry is a good game. I love that game. I mean, I just watched the extended edition of King Arthur today, so I'm really in a Chivalry mood. Like, there's nothing... That's, like, one of my favourite movies of all time. And then it really makes you think of Chivalry and just charging in there and just cutting people's heads off, de-limbing them, you know, the screams. It's a really immersive game, and I find myself far too into it. It's almost embarrassing. Like, there are times when I'll be moving with the character at times. Like, if I'm swinging to the left, I'll be moving to the left and moving to the right and dodging and ducking. And the game is far too immersive to say that it's only a very arcadey but very gory sort of first-person hack and slash player versus player oriented game, but I love it so much.
See, this is why it's so good, because there's obviously not a lot of that in the market right now. So you're obviously going to go between obviously War of the Roses, which is another good game by Paradox Interactive, or you've got obviously Chivalry. Now with Chivalry, they've just done the low grab like servers as well.
Oh, low grab servers are ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's quite fun as well, but it is the kind of game that you can get behind and just run in and just start swinging and still come out on top. And when you lose, fair enough, you get a bit of a but you know, it's sort of like, yeah, I'm going to do better next time. I'm going to ram my spear down someone's face, or sounds a bit wrong, or I'm going to cut his leg off.
People's faces, don't you? You're renowned all around your hometown for spearing faces. Oh man, let me get up a trailer of Chivalry quickly.
Yeah, but I tell you, it is the kind of game where if you war cry, you would sit in your chair and you would war cry with them. Like, yeah, let's do this. Like, Falarak or whatever his name is, Marek or whatever, is a knob. And, you know, it's fucking brilliant.
Here we go. I'm not sure how... This is actual gameplay footage, but I thought that this would represent it better than a trailer. Let's skip a little bit in here. So, I mean, this is the game through and through. There's very little objective play to it, but it's very block and slash and sort of... It's very Twitch reflex oriented. You have to be able to react and dodge and everything, otherwise you're going to get absolutely smashed. And there's a variety of stuff you can do. You can play as an archer, there's different attacks, and I mean, you can get into... This guy here is playing with a two-hander, so it's really not that impressive to watch. It's pretty much just swing wildly and one-shot people. But if you're playing like a man-at-arms, you've got really low armor, but you're really agile and you sort of have to dodge around and play like a pansy and just smack them in the back of the head like 4 times and they die. If you play as an archer, there's nothing... I play an archer, and there is nothing more terrifying than a guy in shiny silver armor with a massive sword charging at you while you're sat there with a fucking crossbow, reloading, unable to move, knowing that you're not worth anything.
Yeah, like famous has said, you will be swinging at nothing most of the time if you've got a terrible connection.
Well, I mean, it depends. I don't find that ping is really reflected on this game that badly. I think that this is a game that really doesn't have a big, like, affiliation with ping. I feel that I've been on American servers with this, and the ping really didn't affect me that much. I could play on 200 ping almost effortlessly, unless I was playing as an archer. Which, if you have a bad connection, it's not hard to just not play as an archer. I mean, Man-at-Arms is fun, Vanguard is fun, Knight's fun. Everything on this game is fun, and I go through phases where I just want a game that is pure gore, guts, and annihilation. And when I want one of those games, I play this or I play Dead Rising. And I mean, both of them fill that need perfectly. Blood everywhere, watching yourself get cut to pieces, cutting people to pieces, brutal murder, stuff like that. That is stuff that sometimes you want. And this game fills that need, in my opinion. It's on Steam. I think it's actually about £20 or £15, something like that.
I'm getting warmed up.
It does go on sale quite often.
Yep, it
I
goes
got mine on sale.
The graphics engine
is...
there's a lot more to be desired from it.
Oh, not much.
That's to be said for sure. That was a good shot by him.
Yeah, the updates are a bit slow, but obviously when it's updated, a lot's done. They've added the beta service for you to test everything out before it's actually released.
But this game is definitely so much fun. I mean, honestly, I think there's very little you can play that's quite as appealing as this. As far as this type of genre. Again, it's a very small genre. There's not many games that do this as well as this. It depends, like, you actually have to hit people. If you hit them in their head with a sharp object, you will cut their head off and one-shot them. At the same time, if you hit them in the leg, you're going to stagger them, and then they'll have they'll like sort of stagger around a bit and then regain it. They can't, I mean, you can't just cut someone's leg off and they survive. If you cut a leg off, then they'll die, but typically you don't really cause that form of mutilation until they're dead. But that's something that's really fun also. When they're dead, you can literally go to town on their body. Cut legs off, cut arms off, cut heads off. And that is fun. There's nothing more fun than going into a duel 1v1 with your friend on Skype, and then after you beat him, you just chop his head off. That is a true sign of victory as a warrior.
I wonder how many weapons are.
Yeah, like, have that bitch.
Be interesting to see.
But even the objective, like based ones on here, fair enough, you're working as a team, but it's still just as fun to run in and even lose the game. It doesn't matter as long as you decapitate enough people, you're still satisfied with the outcome.
Honestly, I've probably won about 1% of games I've played on this, and I don't care. I don't care win or lose on this, because you don't progress based on an XP system. You progress... I mean, you do level up and stuff through XP, but your weapons progress through how many kills you get. If you kill someone with a crossbow, then after 25 kills you unlock the next crossbow. 75 kills after that you unlock the last crossbow. And all the weapons progress like that, with kills. You get kills, you're going to unlock stuff, whether you win or lose. So, it really does mean that losing isn't a bad thing. You can lose games and still unlock stuff. You can win games and get nothing. You know, it swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, it's good. It's like, oh, you suck. Here, have a present anyway. Thanks for trying.
Blade to the back. He's done.
But this is definitely a game I'd recommend to anyone to get.
Coming on the backside. I love the overhand.
It's an absolutely amazing game. Again, graphics engine isn't perfect, but it is quite an old game at this point, and it's still fun. It's not a game that you can play for 20 hours a day every day for a week, but it's a game that you can go on once a week for 4 hours and just scream and get the neighbours banging on the walls at 3 o'clock in the morning because you're trying to cut apart an enemy.
Waited for it. Good job.
Yeah, the neighbours never understand, do they? I'm trying to win here, man. I'm just cutting arm off.
Shut up, neighbours! I'm in a battle to the death.
So he was just waiting
with a kid from China.
You're gonna lose that fight anyway.
Yeah.
He was just like, all right, go ahead and swing. I'm gonna come in and get you.
But yeah,
right. I got one on this guy.
This game's definitely worth looking out for, guys.
So I get points for attacking the air.
So
I'm all on top
while
oh wow, swinging around.
as fun as this has been, I think now is definitely a time where we have to
from the outside camera.
Call it short. Cut it all off and get back to normal streaming. I mean, I know some people are waiting for the Skyrim stream to come back, but we will be doing a podcast like every week, every 2 weeks, something like that. We will be getting guests in. We will be talking about upcoming events, mention more about new releases, stuff like that. They might not always be like this. Sometimes they might be a lot shorter. Sometimes they might be longer. Sometimes there might be a lot more viewer interaction. But
a lot better planned.
Well, I think the planning on this was pretty good. I mean, if anybody's liking the Facebook page, which I will send now, please do feel free to leave feedback regarding the podcast and let us know more about it so that we can improve it. Obviously, we want to hear from you guys. We want what you guys like to be something that helps us out. So, I mean, do feel free to leave back any form of feedback, be it good or bad. We accept anything. And obviously, thanks for watching. I'm gonna turn off the stream, just change all the settings, change all the layout and everything, and then go back to Skyrim. So bye from me. Tempest and Oddconnor, do you two want to say anything?
I'll sit there.
Yeah, see you later, shitloads.
Okay, I'll catch you all later.